Can you tell us who you are and how did you get into the work that you're currently passionate about?
Who I am oh gosh, that's a big old question. I'm a midwife for voices, among other things. Other midwives get babies here. I help get voices from in the inside out. And so I've been doing that for a long time. And I came to it like a lot of wounded healers because I had trouble with my own voice. Um, I grew up singing. It was a good experience in groups. Never wanted to sing alone, which is common, except that a lot of people in my family sang alone as well. And it just
Mm,
sounded like dying to me. So
dying?
I got, yeah, I'd start to sing, but I started singing jazz in my 20s, kind of by accident. And every time I get up to do it, I felt like I was dying. And I got
Mm,
like mad and curious and I started therapy and singing in public the same week. Not on purpose, but my soul is very resourceful. And so my
mm.
growing as a person and growing as a voice have been leapfrogging ever since. So I got mad and curious and started exploring, and here I am.
So how did you end up in organizational uh was that
Development?
organization development? Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the really interesting turns in my life have come out of my responding to a request with the phrase "what the hell." So it's like "what the hell" kind of a thing. I was uh, I traveled in France for about a year in my mid 20s. I wanted to be a famous jazz singer. Unfortunately, that did not work out because I'd probably be dead of lung cancer because they were smoky back then. Um,
Uh,
and I was kind of flailing around a little bit. And when I got one of the jobs, I was invited to by my voice teacher, actually, one of my first voice teachers with whom I mostly cried. Um, she'd listen to me whine about my stupid job. And she said, I know these lunatics, but they might be your kind of lunatics. And they're looking for like a business manager. And I
mm,
always have had that skill, which has come in really handy with all the years I've worked for myself. So I became the business manager for this little group of organizational development lunatics. They said, "We think you'd be great at this, uh, work, given who you are." And I was like, "Oh, never do that." Never, never. And 4 months later, I was on my first project and did it for 12 years. And yes, I was very good at it. A lot of people have degrees in that now. They didn't really offer
yeah.
it back then. And none of my colleagues had degrees in it. We had cultural anthropologists and community educators and social workers and Montessori
Mm,
teachers. And so that's how I entered in, and it was really intriguing work. And my first job out of college, also secretarial, that turned into something else. I was a headhunter for computer programmers. And that was my training in organizational development because I listened to people talk about what made for a good workplace, a good leader, a good team
mm-hmm.
for 6 years
Mm.
before I went to France. Then I went to France, came home, bumped around until I found that work.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's like I think of what you do now as more in that creative arts element, whereas like when I seen you were in organizational development, it's like the first thing I think of is just like corporate like offices and like the complete opposite of arts and creativity.
Well, the way my friends did it, it was incredibly creative. And
Mm,
shortly before I started doing the work
mm-hmm.
beyond the administrative work, they decided that they were going to forego doing any work with an organization that didn't have a connection somehow to their heart. So
Mm,
they gave up. It actually happened because we were working with General Mills, and every year they'd send a great big box of crap. Like we opened it all up and we looked at it and went like, "Do you eat this stuff? I don't eat this stuff." And that led to a
mm,
conversation of saying, "Why are we putting our energy into something that is not necessarily aligned with how we want to, what we want to see in the world. And so we worked
Mm-hmm.
with, I never worked at a huge corporation. I worked for the state of Minnesota. We did some projects there around children and families. I did work in the city of Minneapolis around zoning, of all things. I learned a lot about zoning. And, but there was a heart connection there, you know, because there was usually a person or the way they ran their organization, uh, a window company. We didn't care that much about windows, but we liked how their culture. Um, so that's a lot. And then we ended up working in community for a lot of years too. One of my colleagues got a grant to bring organizational ideas and practices to communities on behalf of children and families. That was intriguing.
Mm.
Mm.
And during all this time, were you still trying to find your voice, or how was that? How did you make that shift from that into what you do now?
Well, I kind of had parallel lives as most artists do. So
Mm.
I'm, over here, I'm singing. I started writing songs in my, I've written a couple in my late 20s, but when my dad died, when I was 31, my story is he just took a lot of my fear with him.
Mm.
Um, he had a good
Oh
death.
wow,
Yeah. And
that's a
so
good
after that,
concept.
yeah, something opened up and I just started writing a lot of songs. And so I had that part of my life, and then I had my professional. I didn't want my art to have to pay my bills because it was just
Mm.
still so tender, and I wanted to let it have its own life without saddling it with
Yeah.
paying the bills. So I had that
Sometimes
going on
people
the
lose
side.
it too.
They
Like
do.
you, it's like I love doing this, but like whatever that art may be, but then it's like once it turns into like a business or like you start getting paid for it, it's like sometimes people lose that spark and it's like I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, I was smart enough in some way to know that was a good choice. And
Mhm.
then I was doing my, professional work and developing my own voice, using this wild, open, you know, extended range kind of vocalizing. And then somewhere along the line, I had a colleague who was working with a leader in an organization who was brilliant in every way. She was like super, super smart, had everything going for her, except she had a voice that was like this. And he's like, "Can you please freaking
Oh.
help this woman?" And it kind of broke my heart because here's this woman with all this potential, and the only thing between her and expressing her potential, really realizing her gifts, is this voice. So I had started
Mm.
working with my own, some friends, on helping them find more of their vocal choices. And that's when the kind of worlds collided. And uh, I started working with some of our clients. And then in 2003, I kind of realized that there were a lot of people who could do organizational development, but what I was learning about the voice was unique and really
Mm.
useful. And so, and I kind of OD'd on OD. I was kind of done with
Oh,
that whole
sad.
world. So I, so my business partner and I both kind of shifted. We're still dear friends, but I stepped more into
Hmm.
just doing voice coaching, and I started training people in my work and wrote a couple books now about the approach that I created.
So I want to know, what does it mean to have a full voice? What does it mean to you, and why is it
Mm-hmm.
important?
Well, what it means is that, you know who you are as a voice and as a person. You're not just living in like a little closet in your potential. You've
Hmm.
got it all.
Mm.
And then also, so you have awareness of your voice and other people's voices. And then you also have flexibility. So if how you're saying something isn't working, you can try
Mm-hmm.
something else. So I divide the voice into 5 distinct sounds using the elements of
Yeah,
earth,
I see. I seen.
fire, water, and air. Yeah, you saw my TED Talk?
Yeah, it was very engaging.
So
It's really
silly.
good. It's
Thank you.
no, it was really good. It's engaging. It's more engaging than like most TED Talks that are just like PowerPoint presentations. It's like this
Pretty
one
straight.
was, yeah, this one was good. I enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can tell us more about it.
Yeah. Well, when you shoot uh, sunlight through a crystal, you get or prism, it breaks into a rainbow. And that's kind of what I do with the voice through my 5 elements framework.
Mm,
Most of us, the rainbow isn't striped, it's got gradients, and so do our voices. But
mm-hmm.
each voice correlates with a different part of the body. And I use exaggerated characters to help us like open up the wild version of each of the sounds first, and then can help people find their way back to something that's more normal and useful. So I'll run you through them really quick. So the earth
Mm-hmm.
voice is sourced in your legs, feet, hips, butt, genitals, lower body, guts, and I sometimes use a sleepy cave person to exaggerate the sound or yawn. Yawns are great for the earth voice. Oh. So that
Mm-hmm.
gets very, yeah, now everybody's going to yawn, I bet you. All your
They're
listeners,
contagious. They're
they are,
contagious. Yeah.
because they're so good for us. But if I bring
Mm,
that earth voice into how I might normally speak, this is my earth voice. It is good for projecting authority. It's good for saying no
mm,
instead of no. Worked with lots of women who don't know how to say a proper no.
mm,
No? It's like, what do you mean? The word is saying no, but the voice is saying maybe. It's also really good for getting grounded and calm.
mm-hmm.
So that's the earth voice. And yes, you have that. It's also really a great podcast voice. It's a good like
Oh, I have,
jazz.
I
Well,
have an
yeah,
earth voice.
when you're doing this, but it just changed again. I
Oh,
think
okay.
you have your podcast voice because you're hearing yourself and you're here. I'm just guessing here, but it's what I'm hearing. You probably sound. We all sound different in different
Hmm.
settings, but you got that kind of earthy,
That's what
calm.
I've been told. I'm more.
Yeah.
I just, I just have a naturally calm voice.
Yes, you do.
Mm,
And your voice often tells people what your gifts are.
mm.
So I would guess that you're kind of a calm, chill person, just based on how you're.
I try to be.
Yeah, yeah. Some of us do it out of
Try.
sheer desperation. If I don't sound like this, I'll be screaming. So that's Earth. Fire is sourced in the belly and solar plexus. And
Mm,
a lot of times I'll have people pretend to be Italian tenors for this. And they're singing about the pasta. Hey, so that kind of
that's a
shouting,
good one.
dramatic. Hey, or a taxi driver in New York City. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're coming off. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's that kind of shouty sound.
Yeah.
And if I dial it back into how I would normally talk, that's how I'm talking right now, because this is my dominant
Oh, that's yours.
voice. Well,
Oh,
when
really?
I'm presenting, teaching,
Yeah.
um, and it's also my nature. I have a lot of, passion. This is a lot about
Mm,
passion. It's
mm,
a lot about being seen and heard, like taking up space.
mm.
And it also really wakes up your physical vitality. It's the
Yeah.
kia of the martial arts.
Yeah.
Um, so that's fire.
Okay.
And water is sourced in the heart and throat area. And to exaggerate this one, sometimes I'll use like a wolf howl. Oh, oh. Even the
Mm.
most reluctant sound makers love to howl like a wolf. And if I bring that sound down into how I might normally talk, this is my water voice. And it's a little
Mm.
higher and it's more flowing. And it's an intimate voice. And it's good for anything your heart might have to say. Like if you have to say you're sorry, this one will probably go
Mm.
better than I'm sorry, which I have both said and received.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So water is good for apologies, delivering bad news, expressing empathy.
Empathy. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the people who have this end up being kind of healers, and like a lot of yoga
Mm.
teachers,
Oh yeah.
chaplains, people who
Yeah.
work in with people who are suffering or having a challenging
Mm.
time, one on one usually.
Mm.
Therapists.
Therapist. Yeah.
Hmm. Except, and that's great in that setting, but if you're trying to give a speech in that voice, people are going to have a nap.
Ah.
If you're just talking like this in a big room full of people who just had a nice heavy lunch, they'll be taking a nap.
Yeah. That's
So
not
all
good.
of them are great until they're terrible. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So we've
Mm.
had earth, fire, water. Now we have metal, which is where that woman was, one of my first
Mm.
professional clients. And to exaggerate that one, I like to use the cat. It's
Yeah.
just all nose. And people are saying, what on earth could you ever use this for in your everyday life? One of the biggest things is to get loud without strain. So if you're
Ah.
walking in the world with your nice, calm earth voice, and then you go into a crowded place, it's really hard to be heard,
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Or if you're with a relative who really should have a hearing aid, but they
Mm.
don't. So this is my metal voice. And a lot of sports coaches use this too. All right, listen
Mm.
up. Okay, we're going to do another, there's that kind of, it's a
It's just
way
like
of,
a louder version of your
yeah.
normal voice, kind of.
Well, it's brighter. It's like you send it up through your nose, kind of like country music or bluegrass. There's that twang, that Dolly Parton kind of thing,
That's true.
right? I'm a poor wayfaring stranger. It's all like right
I
here.
do
So
whiskey glasses, or is it whiskey glasses? I'm a nation whiskey glasses.
yeah,
Do you know who that is?
no,
You don't know Morgan Wallen?
no. And
Oh, he's like pop country. He's like
okay.
super popular, but he's country.
If you listen to most of those guys, that's guys and gals. They have that
Mm-hmm.
twang
Mm-hmm.
thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's I call that metal because it's bright and
Okay.
sharp and it cuts through
Mm-hmm.
the background noise. You can always. My sister-in-law actually has a voice like this, and my gosh, you can hear her everywhere. And I have
Oh, my
another
mom
friend.
is like that too.
Does she have a
She's just
twangy?
so. It's just. I'm just like, why are you so loud? Like everywhere. I
Yeah,
we're trying to have a normal conversation, and like everybody can hear. It's like
yeah.
here, like
I bet you anything she's got metal.
yeah.
Bet you anything. Yeah. So it's great until it's not. But
Mhm. Mhm.
and then the last one is air, is sourced in the crown of your head and above. And to get this one going for people, I mostly have them talk to pets or babies because even the
Mm.
most serious person, when they see that adorable puppy or something or baby, it's like, hi,
Oh yeah, yeah,
hi,
yeah.
hi, who's a good girl? I did this actually at a business. I was presenting to a group of leaders at this organization that had a bunch of senior living places all over
Mm.
uh, the southeast. And I got to this part. And I said, "How many of you have small children or pets in your life?" And people raised their hand. And then I said, "Okay, I'm going to count to three, and I want you to talk to your baby or your pet." And the whole room
They
just
all
went,
sounded like that. Yeah.
It's hilarious. You know, these like serious, like these big guys, and these like
Yeah,
serious women, and they're all. So it is good
yeah.
for talking to pets and babies, but
That's my sister. My sister's like
yeah.
that. Yeah, and she's it's kind of perfect because she's a behavioral behavioral. She works with a lot of autistic and special needs, like from like newborn to like 7 years old, and that's
Yep.
like always. But sometimes she just talks like that, and I'm like, "What are you doing?"
It's so interesting because it's like our gifts and our voices are so tangled up. So it's like, so maybe she's drawn to work with children because she has that, like, this is a very
Mm,
child, it wakes up a kind of childlike way of being.
mm,
It's sweet and it's full of wonder and imagination. We sound like this when we're little because we have little voice boxes, right? And a lot of us like get the hell out of childhood as quickly as possible. So we don't want to go back there. That was
no,
my case. I hated this one. I'm
what?
a tall,
You didn't
smart
like
woman.
being a child?
Well, I did, but there's a bunch of junk back there for a lot of people, including me. And then plus, I just never
Yeah.
felt like I was that kind of girl. I'm very tall. I'm 6'2". I'm a tall woman, and I
Oh
could never
wow.
pull off that like, that kind of girly girl thing. So I just didn't think it
Mm,
had anything to do with who I am. And I also have a
mm.
deep voice. My relatives all have deep voices and big bodies, and so do I. But so this one I just didn't want anything to do with, only it just had a lot of, now I sing with it all the time when I record or
Mm,
perform. It's got that kind of sweetness. So, but like with your sister, sometimes people are, they're drawn to it because of their nature. They like to be
mm,
with that energy of young children. But
mm.
then it gets reinforced by what they're doing, right? So their nature and then what they're actually doing gets reinforced. Um,
Mm,
Same with like the healers, the people who are warm and tender hearted,
the
they're drawn to it
hippies.
because they're tender hearted. The
The
hippies,
hippies.
yeah. Watch your step now.
Peace and love, man.
That's peace and love. Yeah, I have friends from California who are talking in the air all the time. And I still have to manage my Midwestern judgment. They're just like, hi. Oh, it's really great. It's super dreamy. And it's like, oh, come on now. And then I just say, that's my problem. That's my
Mm,
judgment.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the five elements.
Okay, so those are the five elements. So how does this help people in their everyday life, knowing these five elements? What can they take from that, from learning that, and apply it to their life?
Mm. Well, I always start people with like the question, what's your story about your voice? And oh my gosh, there
Mm,
always is a big one. And so that might be a really
yeah,
fun
I
thing
have
for your
one.
listeners to tell me what you got, if you're
That
willing.
that excites you, huh? That you get excited. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so interesting. Yeah. It's like a whole biography of a different
So
part of you.
I was always told I was soft spoken, which I consider myself soft spoken. Um, and then I remember like going to boot camp, and they just scream at you, and
Yep.
they just make you yell sometimes, and it's like, okay, now I know how to kind of use my diaphragm a little. It still feels unnatural to do sometimes.
Hmm.
Like even the other day ago, I was out and I purposely tried to talk louder, like in the metal voice,
Hmm.
because people were just standing in line. Like, I mean, it looked like they were in line, but they were like kind of off to the side. And I asked them, like, are you in line? But in my metal voice, like kind of louder.
Hmm.
And I don't know, maybe they were preoccupied or whatever, but I had to ask them 3 times.
Hmm.
And finally, the third time, they're like, oh, yeah, we're in line, we're in line.
Hmm.
So I think for me, it's just that projection side in certain situations. I think that's always been a reoccurring thing
Hmm.
for me with my voice.
Hmm. Yeah. So kind of opening up a bigger question about voice is like
Okay.
where I like to start because most of us
Okay.
don't think much about it. We think about like we hear
Mm-hmm.
the way we sound recorded. A lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
there's that little shock because that's not what we hear in our own
Yeah, it's like,
heads.
whoa, is that what I said? Like when I
Is that
recorded
yeah
my first podcast, I was like, what?
yeah that's a universal.
Yeah.
It's like holy cow, that cannot be me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, and then just take, it's similar in a way to people who do yoga. You do the full range of motion with awareness and you do it as practice. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
same kind of idea, only with your voice. And so when I first started studying with the teacher who kind of took me way outside of like speaking and singing out into sound, I thought my voice ended, which isn't that high, especially for a young woman, which I was at the time. And in my first, well, you can hear that.
It's kind of a like when I hear it, I think the microphone or something it like limits it. So I hear
Distorts it.
like the
Yeah.
beginning, yeah, but then it just
Yeah.
cuts off.
Yeah. Well, it went, it blew
Oh,
my
there you go. I
limits.
hear.
Yeah. Yeah. It blew my limits out of the water. And I did that by being somebody else. I was a bird, not myself. I was like a big raptor wanting to scream out of the sky. And it felt so good to be so
Mm.
fierce and not nice and
Mm.
all out. And no one had ever asked me for all the sound I had. And, I sang in choirs, I was in theater some, but no one had just said, give me more. Let's go further. Let's go to the place where your
Mm.
voice fails, all the way down, all the way up, using characters and
Mm.
play. And
It sounds
I
fun.
loved it. It was super fun and
Yeah.
terrifying because the story that we tell about our voice is just a story, and it's concocted of
Oh,
a lot of
always.
habit, social stuff, trauma, media, what it means to be a good man, a good woman, region,
Yeah.
even the first language you speak. People don't just have
Mm.
accents, they
Mm-hmm.
actually have a vocal quality that sometimes extends over into their how they sound.
Mm.
And
Mm.
um, so taking people way out using the elements to the limits of their voice helps kind of blow open that story a little bit to say, well, yes, you are soft spoken, Thomas, but you might also have like a whole bunch of other parts of you that haven't had a chance to express for whatever 10,000 reasons. So, so most
No,
people
I was
find
just
it like fun, to just get out of their own way and play a little.
I think I naturally do that though.
Do
Like
you?
I naturally just play with my voice. Yeah, like whether it be me singing or just like random like I don't know where I get these random like bursts of random like funny phrases. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like just what 2 days ago I was just making fun like with my daughter. I was like just pretending to be a British person.
Yeah.
I was like, are you bloody mad, man? Like, are you like, are you mento? Are you mento, man? And
Yeah.
I just kept saying that like super loud, and it's just like I don't know where that came from, but I just do that
Yeah.
sometimes, like just
Yeah.
randomly. I don't know, like it's just for fun, like to
Yes.
just play around or.
Well, and a lot of us do it with children, I do invite people to, after they open up all their sound, to do some singing because it's kind of
Mm,
halfway between speaking and making wild sounds. And they always
yeah.
have to be songs they love and, that maybe say something that they want to hear. So that helps too. But the other practice that I
Mm-hmm.
often have people do is read children's books, even if there's no kid
Uh,
around,
that's
because
good. Yeah.
you might be, I know, huff. and I'll puff,
Mm,
but I'll
mm.
blow. There's a
Oh
more
yeah, I totally do
exaggeration.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's a setting where people can do that. And I think that the end of the day, at a really practical level, it gives you more vocal choices and awareness about not just how you're speaking, but what you're hearing in return. So if you hear someone saying, I'm really, really passionate about the work I do, and I have worked with that guy. He saw himself on a video saying that.
I'm always reminded of that. I don't know if you remember that commercial, the Clear Eyes guy. He's like,
Uh-uh.
he's like clear eyes, like it's like it was an old 2000s um commercial with clear eye, like the eye drops,
Yeah.
and he would just like drop, like show a giant red eye, and then like
Hmm.
be like, "This is clear eyes," and then like clear eyes.
Yeah. Stuck with you. It was very effective, apparently.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was so monotone that it stuck with me.
Observe dry eyes, red eyes, symptoms for which science created clear eyes. Unlike the other leading eye drop, clear eyes removes redness and as an ingredient to moisturize. The difference is clear. Clear eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently that worked in that case. It did not work for the
Mm,
guy who saw himself on the video. So he came
mm,
to work with me and we found other choices. But he was an introvert, and so he was incredibly passionate. It just
mm.
didn't get out of his face.
How
It
did
was just,
you how did you help, you helped him
uh,
or
oh God, yes. Yeah. Most of it was just he, I just gave it, he found his fire voice. And
mm,
what's interesting is he was a reserved guy. He was from Fargo. He was a white, old, middle-aged white guy from Fargo,
mm,
North Dakota. It's like being reserved is part of the culture in
yeah.
this part of the world, right? And so as a young man, he played the trombone, which is so
Whoa.
fiery. And I
Yeah.
just thought, oh, that's so genius. I've had a couple of people over the years who had like parts of their speaking voice were kind of missing or offline or not expressed, and they picked up an instrument that expressed it perfectly.
Mm.
So I took him through the five elements warm up, just tried him all out. And turned out he had this big, fiery, gorgeous voice in
Mm.
there. His habit was just to like speak very,
How do you bring that out of people?
well, I didn't, but the Italian tenor really worked for him. And he was desperate, so he was interested,
Mm.
you
He's
know.
trying everything.
He
He's
was
trying
trying
everything.
anything. And
Yeah.
he trusted me. We had known each other before professionally. So and so I got him singing. He had a lovely singing voice. And so the singing kind of helps you get used to moving more energy through your voice.
Oh,
And
I
then
sing all the time
yeah, and
in the car.
I'm sure you
That's
don't
my number
sing
one
like this.
spot,
Yeah, I don't know. If we ever get
in the
over
car.
our cars, cars and showers, people will never sing again. But then I worked from the singing. He got used to that kind of thing. So then he was getting ready to present at a big international conference. And so we actually
Mm.
worked with his presentation, and I had him deliver it as a Black Baptist preacher. I had him, kind of
Whoa.
way exaggerate it. And then we had him
Mm.
sort of bring it back. So I always start with huge exaggeration and then we sort of split the
Ah.
difference. And he went and he did his speech. He had a blast. He ended up, I helped
Yeah.
him write it because I do a lot of speaking myself. And so I helped him kind of craft the beginning and the ending. Uh, and he ended up telling a joke and he had a blast and he got a lot of business. So
That's good.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. You gotta
Really
have
fun.
fun while you're doing stuff like that. It takes
Yeah,
away
and
all the pressure. Like there's
it
that
does.
pressure. Yeah.
And also people are so like the TED Talks, it's like there's this format and
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
dead. And so people are just grateful that you show up alive at all or do something
Mm.
unexpected. I do
A little
keynotes where
different. Yeah.
I sing and talk instead of just talk. And I don't know, even
Oh,
if
I
it,
like those. Yeah, I like. You
yeah.
ever see the comedians that do that too? They're
No.
like they'll be playing like guitar or something while they're.
Mm.
You never seen that
No,
while
I
they're
kind of
like.
live in a cave.
Oh
I live in
shit!
the, you know what I mean? I don't partake a lot. I mean, there's
The
some
current
popular
events.
culture, some pop culture I do. I've been
Or
like,
pop culture.
yeah, I've been really enjoying the last couple of uh weeks of Colbert. I'm gonna miss him. I like him a lot.
Oh, what
So
happened to him?
he got canceled by CBS under pressure from
He got canceled.
political pressure.
You can't cancel. You can't. You can't truly cancel somebody. Like he could just
Well,
start a YouTube channel or something.
oh, he's not going to stop, but it's been really fun to watch it. I watch it on YouTube because I go to bed early because I'm
Yeah.
up early hiking. I was out on the river kayaking this morning
Oh
um,
wow.
before I
How
came
early do
here.
you wake up?
Well, this morning I had a rough night of sleep, but generally I get up around 5:30.
Wow. I wish.
I used to be a night owl, and
I feel like
now,
I'm more of a night owl. Yeah.
yeah, it used to be me. It used to be my best time, but now I kind of live in the country, and so I'm up early with the birds, and then I go out for a long hike, and then I'm a cold plunge person, so I jump in the river. The days
Oh,
are, it's still
you're one
really
of those.
cold. It's still cold, but it's
No,
less,
I
the
always tell
days are
people
numbered.
it's so good
Yeah,
for you.
it is
Like
so
it,
good.
like if you want to build discipline, that's what I say. Like if you want to build discipline, that's one not I mean not necessarily easy, but kind of
It
like
is. It's
straightforward,
simple.
simple. Yeah,
It's not easy, but
straightforward.
it's simple.
Just yeah, you just do it. You don't want to ever do it when it's that cold,
Yeah.
but it helps build that discipline for you. Yeah.
Actually, I crave it now. And for me, it's like I get the runner's high without having to run. I hate running. But you get
Oh, me too. I just
that
walk.
big endorphin burst. And
You do, yeah.
oh,
It
it's so
shocks your
good.
system.
It does. Yeah.
You gotta scream when you do it.
I don't. I breathe.
You don't scream.
No, I do a
Oh, you
big,
just take a deep breath.
and then
Ah,
I count my breaths because I'm usually alone, and I do it as soon as the ice is out here, and up until the ice comes in the
mm.
northern part of the U.S. So um, yeah, but I'm conservative because I'm usually by myself. So
Mm.
it's like a meditation. I count my breaths,
Yeah.
um, and then I can extend longer and longer and longer. And now now I'm actually starting to swim a little bit.
Oh wow.
Kind of gives me a little ice cream headache, but
I
yeah,
think what do they say? The benefits. I've watched a lot of Wim Hof, and
yeah,
he's like all you really need is 1 to 3 minutes to
yeah,
get like the max benefits.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah. I love it. I also really like the mental training of it. It's not hard for me to get in anymore, but I notice that first response. Actually, before I started cold plunging, I saw a video about what to do if you fall through the ice, which is, I mean, I live
Fall
near
through the
Minneapolis,
ice.
St. Paul. I live and this is before all the cold plunge stuff was happening. And the guy said, well, the first thing you do is you calm your system because that first
Mm.
response is involuntary. Oh my God,
Yeah, like you
and
gasp.
yeah, and then you just breathe and calm yourself down. And that, so that's, that I learned that handily. Fortunately, I haven't fallen through the ice to need that, but now it's like that's what I do. And I notice if I get triggered by something,
Mm.
my frequent one is I live on a hill where people are supposed to be going 25 miles an hour. And there's lots of my neighbors and kids and dogs and bikes and everything. And people just go roaring up that hill really, really fast. And so I get all grumpy about that because
Oh, you.
that's my trigger. So it's just like, oh, swear word, swear word, swear word. And then,
We all
and then
have
I go
triggers.
like, how long am I going to make myself miserable about that? They don't
Yeah.
care. They're on their way to wherever they're on their way to. And so
I
if I
got
get,
triggered two
yeah,
days ago.
did you?
I don't know but then I just let it go like instantly because I was so confused. Yeah, I was at a stop red light, and
Yeah.
I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything. I just stopped at the red light. I was there, and then this motorcycle pulled up behind me, and then it turned green. It went green, and then he like zoomed. He like
Mm-hmm.
zoomed past me and flicked me off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I was like, "What did I do?
I know.
What? Like
People
what?
are
What is
generous
his
with their.
deal?"
I
Like,
know. There's so much rage right now. So
I
much
don't know what
rage.
it is. Like, I don't.
Whew.
I thought it was my stickers because I have stickers like don't ride my ass, don't be a bumper humper.
Oh, that
Um,
must have
you're
been it.
so close. Like I have a bunch of stickers on my back, but I was just confused.
Yeah,
Yeah, people have rage.
they do. And I don't want to join them in it if I can help it, but sometimes I can't. But I use the same technique I use in the cold water as I do uh, with that
Is
when I
there a
remember.
technique for rage with your full voice to let that out, or?
Well, I think fire is sometimes people, you know, express anger through fire,
Mm-hmm.
yelling. And
Mm-hmm.
uh and I think this work connects a lot to the shadowy parts of us, our animal,
Mm.
our
Or
the
shadow side.
the uncivilized. So I have had
The
people, there's
uncivilized.
yeah, yeah, the uncivilized parts of us. And they're gonna express regardless. They're gonna have their say. And it might be through,
Mm.
picking a fight with somebody or getting sick or depressed or something, but the shadow is gonna. I mean, I studied a bit of Jungian psychology when I was developing this approach, and
Yeah, he's one
read,
of my favorites.
yeah, his work about the shadow and the collective unconscious makes perfect sense to me and connects a lot to this voice stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
They try to
yeah.
call it because I'm actually studying psychology right now, and
Mm.
my professor was talking about that, and he was like, yeah, like Jungian, they people like he got like excommunicated from the the academia side of psychology because he was talking about like the collective unconscious and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you can't necessarily prove. And I just remember my professor calling it parapsychology,
Mm.
like paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
But all of it makes sense if you think about it. Like one of the things that that uh, was interesting for me is like the collective unconscious and how he explains like simple way to explain it is like why do some cultures like across the world have similar symbols even
See?
though like throughout history they weren't connected, you
Yep.
know? That was like one of the big things that he
Mm-hmm.
mentions. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
and the archetypes, all these
Mhm.
characters
Mhm.
that keep showing up, the high priestess, the trickster, the troll, the giant, there's all
Mhm.
these characters, and I think they're around. I think that kind of energy, I think they're kind of hanging out because human beings used to use the unseen partners
Mhm.
a lot more than we do now. We're very much like,
Mm.
we're here. If I can't see it or touch it, it doesn't exist. And it's like, well, yeah, and most any artist I know is, if they're honest, the inspiration does not just come out of their neocortex. I have written lines
Yeah.
that are, I've written whole songs that have nothing to do with my lived experience. And I know a
Mm.
lot of people have that experience of being connected to something. Uh,
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, where
mhm.
did that inspiration for I wish that I could show you?
Oh man, I love that song.
Where did that come from?
Oh, it's such a good story. I have a nephew that is my soulmate. I call him my soulmate nephew. He's somebody I'm like super close to.
Mm.
And we started getting close when he was a teenager, and now he studied my full voice work. We now
Oh
teach
wow,
together, and I'll actually be seeing him next week. I'm going to watch one of his kids graduate high school.
that's
So
so cool.
it is so cool. And he was going through a really dark night of the soul a bunch of years ago, and he's in another state. And I'm just worried as the person who loves him so badly.
Hmm.
And I had this quote in my office. I'd made a little thing of this quote by the great Sufi mystic Hafiz. And it is, I wish that I could show
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
whenever you are lonely or walking in the dark, the astonishing light of your being. And I thought, well, that, I could tell him that. And so I've been looking at that for years. And then,
That's so good.
yeah, and then I got busy and made it into a little song and sang it for him for a long time. And he's come through, but it was kind of my way of praying. And
Hmm.
now, and then many years later, it grew verses, which is very unusual. So now I
It grew.
reread.
It has a
Yeah,
mind of its own.
it did. I was getting ready to do an online concert during COVID, and I went for a little walk to clear my head. And all of a sudden, the first verse starts unspooling into my mind. I'm like, what? I already recorded this. So I actually recorded it again. I called it Astonishing Light. So I'll
Mm.
share the link with you if you'd like to put it in your show notes, the whole thing.
Do you have like
So
a artist account or no?
I have a Bandcamp that
Oh, you have
has
a
a
Bandcamp.
ton of my music, and I have a SoundCloud also. But Bandcamp is nice because if you like it, you can buy it, download it. So,
Yeah, I was just
but
listening to about your one cover of what is that? I just listened to it. What's her
Let It Be. I
name?
did Let It Be.
She's no, no, no. It's from a black woman artist.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free.
Yes,
Oh, I love that song.
so good.
Thank you. I love that song. Yeah, it was just I fell in love with it when I was a teenager. I found it in a book about the great songs of the '60s that my brother gave me for my 13th birthday.
That was from the '60s.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, it's.
Nina Simone made it famous.
Mm,
And I was actually just with the friend that I rediscovered the song with a bunch of years ago. He's a mentor of mine in the world of leadership and work and stuff. And I was just with him in Cincinnati. His name's Peter Block. And we were sitting on his deck many years ago having dirty martinis. The only time I ever have dirty martinis is with Peter.
wait, what's a
I,
clean martini?
I don't know. A dirty martini has olive juice in it.
And a
So
clean one doesn't.
I don't know. But anyway, I'd never heard of the thing, but we were sitting there and talking about funeral songs, like what songs do we want at our funerals? And he said
Mm,
that song, and he said it was so important. It was like a description of his whole life work. And I was like, wait, me too. So we discovered we were both fascinated with the same
wow.
song at the same time, out of the same book. And I was 14 and he was 34.
Oh
And now he's
wow.
in his mid 80s and I'm in my mid 60s. And anyway, I just got to see him last
I
week.
feel like that's so uncommon nowadays.
What is?
For young like teens to be connecting with like older.
Mhm.
I feel like now it's more like you just stay in your generation. It's harder
And
to connect with like other generations.
I agree. And I think it's really hard because we have things for each other.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the things I do in my little town here is we have a nonprofit professional theater and I write grants for them. I don't have a lot of money, but I can write. And so, but they have intergenerational shows
Mm.
and intergenerational summer camps. And
Mhm.
it's so cool because even if people go to church, and a lot of people don't anymore, but they're still segregated by age. But I think it's so
Mm.
cool that these groups, they'll get kids from like 7 or 8 years old and then bunch of old geezers and everybody in between, teenagers, young adults, everything, college students who come as interns, and then they all get on stage and they do something real together.
Mm.
And I just think it's, I'm in a rural area, and I think it's especially cool for the kids that aren't sporty, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, because sporty, you get a lot of attention in a place like this.
Yeah, that's
But
always the popular kids, the ones that
yeah,
do like all the sports and stuff.
yeah. Mm,
Well, uh that's kind of what I wanted to ask you next was so your other TED Talk was
mm,
the oral tradition. Um what does that look like for people maybe
mm.
who aren't in those communities, or like just a regular person that doesn't do much but besides work, like how can they do that communal, what you were talking
Mm.
about in the talk?
Well, the talk is about the power of oral tradition community singing.
Mhm.
And I've
Mhm.
been doing it for decades in Minneapolis, St. Paul, just because I knew people needed to sing together. And I had the pleasure of singing in choirs and experiencing harmony, which is like, oh my gosh, you're just in this kind of
It's
vibrational,
so it's so crazy.
yummy.
Yeah.
It's so yummy. I just love it.
No,
And I feel
yeah, it
sad that
is.
people don't get that if they don't know how to read music, to join a
Mm.
choir or perform or be quote unquote good enough. And so
Mhm.
I just got busy with leading people, and I just kept noticing that a couple songs in, there maybe would be 30, 40, 50 people in the room, and I would start a song, and they might be like a quarter to a third brand new people who'd never been there before.
Mhm.
And I would get a song going, and then I'd sit down and shut down all my leadership energy, and that
Mhm.
group would find their way to a perfect ending together without any sign from me. And I'm like, no, what the hell is going on with that? What is happening here? It's like there's this communal intelligence that's happening. And then I just kept trying it with bigger groups, 100 people, 300 people. And then when I did my TED Talk, there was 900 to 1,000 in that room. And I felt them all decide when it was over, which was mind blowing. And they stopped, like on a dime,
Yeah.
altogether. And so I think that kind of singing where you have to really tune in and listen, you're not sure. Like when you have
Mhm.
paper, you feel like you know something. But when you don't have paper in front of you, you have to kind of listen more carefully, listen with your skin, as I like to say. And yeah, and
Listen
it's
with your skin. Wow.
listen. Yeah, I wrote a little thing in 5/4
No,
time
that's
about
good
that.
though.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause sound sometimes, like especially when you're in the car and you have it loud, you can feel the vibrations.
exactly.
Yeah.
Only it's different when you're in real proximity to other human beings. It's just there's
Mhm. Mhm.
something really nourishing, and it's actually taken off. A lot of people, I think there is a singing community in Austin. They're all over the place, and
Probably. We have
what
everything
ha
over here.
yeah, my friend Josh Blaine used to do stuff at the Capitol pretty regularly there, but I don't know if he's still around. But I do know that there's been a fair amount of singing in Austin, but they're all over the place. And what has blown my mind this year is witnessing the singing resistance happening in the Twin Cities when ICE came and started abducting people off the streets by the dozens every
What does
day.
that mean, singing resistance?
There's a group of people that I consider kind of my descendants. Like I started this
Your
singing movement.
descendants.
You know what I mean? I'm like the grandma. I'm the grandma of that kind of singing. And a lot of those folks have been leading that kind of singing, oral tradition singing, now that I'm, living an hour away. And when
Okay.
ICE invaded the Twin Cities, they
Mhm.
started singing. So the first time they wanted to sing for people who were locked in their houses because they were afraid to leave. because they were, regardless of their status, they didn't care. They just were swooping people up, racial profiling. It was off. It was a hard winter. Well, my friends there said, well, let's walk through the neighborhood where a lot of these folks are locked in, and we'll just sing to let them know that that they're not forgotten and that we're here. They expected maybe 30 people to show up, and 300 people came. And the next week they did the same thing, and 600 people came. And then the day after Alex Preddy was shot, they had a previously planned sing at this big church, actually where I used to lead singing. And there were, I think, 1,400 people there. And yeah, and so they just started gathering people to sing, training people to be song leaders in their own little neighborhoods. And now it's a movement all over. I mean, there's singing resistance pods everywhere where people can just mobilize quickly and go sing somewhere. If there's a protest, or if there's an incident, or whatever. And they have a whole infrastructure. I think if you just do singing resistance, Google it, you'll find they've got a guidebook and a songbook with lots of links, and they have regular calls. Yeah,
I feel like that's much better that's a much more peaceful way to protest.
It's more fun for sure. Yelling
than just destroying stuff.
And just yelling. I mean, what else you got? Yeah, it was fun. They had a big march here at the end of March, and Bruce Springsteen was there, and Joan Baez, and it was pretty amazing. And they did this kind of big wahoo, and the Brass Solidarity, this really groovy street kind of New Orleans style brass band that'd been playing all winter during all the protests. And can I say, brass instruments are stupid cold when it's like 12 below. But they were all on stage with Joan Baez and some other folks. And I looked up there, and there's some of my singing resistance friends, the people that I've known for years and years. And like, okay, you're on stage with Joan Baez right now. Okay, that is so cool. So, and then Brandi Carlile came to town, and she had a whole bunch of them come up and sing. And yeah, it's been pretty amazing to watch the development of this thing that I couldn't have even imagined when I was building a singing community. So you never know what you're doing, ever, really.
So what is vocal intelligence?
It's similar to full voice. It's the name of my new book that just came out. It's just another way of saying who you are as a voice, and you know how to make use of it to serve, connecting with other human beings. So people talk about emotional intelligence a lot.
That's what I was going to say.
Right? And so it's a similar thing where you can listen with more wisdom, and you can express. I mean, the whole point of these voices is so we can connect with other people, I think. And because nothing much happens without that connection. Yeah.
How can I use my voice to connect with other people?
With your
Yeah,
voice,
and you, how can I?
Oh, how can you? Well, you're doing a pretty good job now. I thought it was a rhetorical question.
No. I'm
How
asking
can you? How can you? Well, you're doing a pretty good job. I mean, what is a podcast except for that, right, Thomas?
That's true. I just enjoy it, honestly. That's what keeps me going.
Good.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. I enjoy listening and learning to people speak about what they're passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. You get to learn out loud.
Yeah. So you had a quote, and I want you to explain to me what that means to you.
Okay.
You said we are like, well, William James said it, but you said it. We are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected in the deep.
Isn't that cool? I love that quote. I found it. It's like it was like a quote in the beginning of a book somewhere,
Yeah,
and
they always have good quotes in the
oh
beginning of
man, and I thought
books.
I need to make that into a song. So I actually did a little two-parter. I
Oh
can't do it. I
wow.
can't do it for you because I don't have two voices. I have a little looper, but it's not set up yet. But it's like I
Uh,
just think it describes that thing with that is illustrated by the oral tradition singing when we're connected in the
mm,
deep. We're connected deep down in some really powerful ways. But it's a really fun little groove. We we are like islands in the sea. We are like islands in the sea. So that's one little groove. And then the other groove is
mm,
separate on the surface, but connected in the deep. And then they fit together. So fun.
mm.
Yeah. I love
Is your
love taking wisdom from quotes and poems and things like that and putting it into music because it sticks
yeah,
better.
that's like your inspiration,
Yeah. But also it's a way like I've said a lot of poetry to music. And I can remember the poems perfectly because, well, most of us learn our ABCs by singing, right?
That's so true, yeah.
Right. So when you sing something, you can remember it easier.
I write poetry too.
You do? Tell me about that.
I wrote an XXX poem a
Uh-huh.
couple days ago.
Great. I've written a lot of those too in my youth.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. There's a whole bunch of poems that'll never see the light of
Oh my
day.
God.
if I think, what's going to happen to these when I die?
Your family's gonna uh, publish them post-mortem.
Oh, and then it won't matter because I'll be gone. So there you go.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
shame. No
No
shame.
shame.
No, I don't. I actually plan on publishing mine one day. I'm
Good.
trying to gather a collection of like at least 100 and then
Hmm.
turn it into a little poetry book.
Why 100?
I don't know. I just picked that number. I was like, that sounds good enough to be a published poetry book. I've bought in poetry books that were like literally only like 20 pages. I was like, what? I
Yeah.
can do this?
Uh, yeah. I
What?
was going to say 100 feels like a big bite to chew. I mean, I've made little chapbooks of my own
Mm-hmm.
poetry. And I don't know, there was maybe 20, 25. But I mean, you
Okay.
do you, but I think a lot of people don't have that kind of attention span to like plow through 100 of anything, even fortune cookies. So anyway, you may not, my thing is you may not need to, you could write 100 and then pick your 25 favorites would be my completely
Ah.
unsolicited advice. But I was writing poetry long before I wrote
No, I
songs.
might do that. Yeah. Cuz
Yeah.
I have a theme for it.
Hmm.
It's called the Fool's Poetry.
Oh, good. Fools are
And
great.
yeah, and like my whole take on it is like the fool is actually the wisest because
Hmm.
he's the one that is willing to go through and make himself look like a fool
Yep.
before he gains that wisdom.
Yep. Yeah. When
Mm.
my archetypes that I use when I'm teaching or performing, I always use the high priestess because I know what I'm doing is sacred, and
Mm.
the holy fool, because I feel like I'm funny and getting people having fun and laughing is like the sneakiest way to get the defenses down.
Oh, that's the
You know,
best way. I'm like
yeah,
sometimes I'm like, why are y'all so freaking
serious.
yeah, like some but it I mean, I guess certain situations, yeah, but then it's like for the most I think the majority of the time you could have fun and be that humor. But some people it's just like they have that stick.
Yeah,
That stick is just
Yeah.
It's just in up there.
The stick is way up there. It's so true. Yeah. Bless their hearts, as they say in the South.
Well, Barbara, is there anything like we haven't really gone over that you want to go over before I have my final set of questions for you?
Hmm. I guess one of the things that I've done that is not so visible, but it's
Hmm.
like really in the heart of what I love, is that
Hmm.
about 19 years ago, I started a comfort choir, and we sing for people who are in hospice or hospital or sad or tired or whatever. Volunteers, so you call us up and, five, six people will come and just sing for you for nothing. And
Oh wow.
and most people think we're connected to a church, and we're not. We have people who are atheists and Lutherans and Buddhists and whatever, pagans,
Hmm.
everything. But we have in common is that we want to be of service and bring kindness and care to people.
Yeah.
So we're called the Morning Star Singers, and we're about 40 members this year. Um, but yeah, I've just been around a lot of death and dying. Uh,
Hmm.
and when I was in a hospital room years ago with this man, Paul, he was a friend of my work colleague, um, and he was brain dead, and they were just keeping him alive through machines, and everybody was ready to let him go except his 15-year-old daughter. And
Hmm.
we're all standing around there, and somebody turns to me and says, "Barbara, do you have a song?" And I was like, uh, uh, I better have a song right now. So I pulled something out of my butt and sang something, and then we all sang, maybe a Swing Low, Sweet Chariot or something. And then we sang for a
Hmm.
while, and then we stepped out. And at his daughter's request, she said, "I want some time with Papa." And then she came out about 15 minutes later, and she said, "Okay, I can let him go now." And I later asked her, I said, what happened in there, if you don't mind my asking? And she said, "Oh, I just sang him every Beatles song he ever taught me."
Hmm.
And 2.5 years later, she was dead in a car accident,
Wow.
along with her best friend, and her mom was gravely injured. Her mom is still wildly alive at 83 now,
Wow.
but we just this community just went through a lot of, we lost Paul, and
Hmm.
then Kirsten and Nina, and then we lost Joel, and then we just had a lot of people dying, and we would sing our way through it, and the songs would remind us that's like, well, we got through this last time, so maybe we'll get through
Hmm.
it this time. And then I learned about these kinds of choirs, and I thought, well, someday I'll start one of those, and then one day I did. And so I think death
Yeah.
informs my life a lot.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, how has your relationship with grief changed since then, and being around death so much? How has your outlook changed on life?
Oh, it's changed a lot. It really helps reframe what's important. And I mean, I can get
Hmm.
my head up my ass, as quickly as the next person. I'm not beyond it, but
I think we are, yeah.
we all are. I'm human, but I do find that it puts things into perspective uh, really quickly, to understand that there's not a lot of time, not infinite time, and that we're
Hmm.
all heading to this place, um, universally heading to the end of. We're going to have
Hmm.
to give everything up. So every ending, every goodbye, every ending of anything is like a dress rehearsal for letting go of our lives, of our bodies. So I think it's made me more compassionate, more patient.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
also, I think it continues to help me wake up to, like, oh my gosh, look where I am. I'm on a planet that the fact that life exists here at all is kind of unlikely. And here we are floating in vast space, and oh, spring came, and oh my gosh, I was out, watching a loon diving on the river, and I've lived here all these years and I've never seen a loon diving on the river. You know what I mean? There's a sense of preciousness and wonder that comes from it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's that like gratitude for life.
Yep.
That's what I like to call it when like
Yeah.
people describe stuff like that. It's like that gratitude for life.
That's it. Yeah. Being alive while you're
Yeah.
alive is really, uh, I don't know. I think we're here to be in school. I think we're here to learn things that we can only learn when we have a body. And,
It's
and
deep.
yeah, so I don't know what happens later, but I think it's a great
Me either.
mystery for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the only other thing.
that was good. So, Barbara, I end all my podcasts with a set of questions I ask every guest who comes on for the first time.
Hmm.
My first question is, what is your biggest regret? If you don't have any, what would your future self regret? Yeah, what would your future self
It's
regret?
so funny. I don't feel like I don't entertain regret anymore.
mm,
Um,
mm,
I still have things that have happened that give me these little like shame cramps in my
mm, mm,
belly. Um, I, I've been married and divorced twice, and I look back on those choices that I made,
mm.
and I'm like, what the hell were you thinking, sister girl? It's like that was like so not a fit for you. And at the same time, it formed me. I would not be who I am without, you take one
That's so
thing,
true.
it's
Yeah.
a Jenga game. You take
Hmm.
something out and the whole thing falls down. And so I do get these little like, oh God, you were so, desperate to like, I don't know, be normal. I don't know what. Um, but then I just try to extend, I just take another breath and then try to extend compassion to that young woman
Mm,
who was doing her very best to find her way in a world that's a little crazy.
yeah.
So it took a long time for me to figure out what was for me and what was not for me. But I couldn't have figured it out unless I'd fallen on my head so profoundly.
Yeah. That's it. I'm reminded of I don't know if you ever heard of Les Brown, but he says
Hmm.
something like he's like, yeah, if you fall down, make sure you fall on your back so you can like look up or something and get up or something like that. I'm butchering it, but
Yeah, well, it's just, and also I just thought my failings were so special and unique. And it's like,
mm.
oh, honey, no, we are
Oh
also,
yeah.
I remember I was talking to a friend of mine. She actually dated my first husband after me. And then
What? What?
and then they broke up, but we're still friends. I'm not connected to him at all, but she and I are actually still friends many years
Oh
later.
wow.
And she said, yeah, when you broke up with him and he got together with me, he just kept like whining and whining. It's like how much you broke his heart, you broke his heart. And I just finally told him, of course she broke
Uh,
your heart. It's what we do. And then
that's
we
too early
heal.
then. That
And
was too
then we
early for
heal.
him.
Oh, I know. And then we heal, she said. I'm not going to hear this anymore. Um,
uh,
and that was actually a real gift from her to say, like, of course, because I'd felt bad about how I'd hurt this person. I didn't intend, but we
mm,
do. And she's like, well, of course we hurt each other. It's what we do. And then we heal. And I was like, oh, right, right. Yeah.
yeah. I like to say healing is a daily practice.
Hmm.
That's what I say. Because it's like,
Yeah.
I don't feel like we ever reach this point where, like, yeah, I'm good. I'm all done healing. It's like,
No.
that's why we do the cold plunges. That's why we work out. That's why we meditate. That's why we
Yeah.
go on hikes. It's like, that's all healing.
It all is. Yeah.
Yeah. Who or what has made the biggest impact in your life?
Mm. Biggest, I don't know. Because they're all crowding in now, all the different
Mm,
things.
mm,
I do know that first teacher who took me, on that
mm,
ride, Shaul Ryan is his name. He's a British guy with a Hebrew name who lives in France. And he was my teacher for years. Then we became colleagues. We taught together until about 2 years ago. And he turned 80 and decided not to come anymore. But now my nephew and I are starting to teach it together instead. But my life was going in one direction when I walked into that first workshop. And when I walked out, it had turned. It really shifted. That whole approach, meeting him and then all the other teachers I worked with, and exploring my voice in this way was, it's one of the foundational experiences of my life.
What do you think it was inside of you that made that shift from what you were, and then like what do you think it was that he did that brought that side and helped you shift out of that?
He just invited it. I mean, it's like it's all there. And it's what I do as a teacher. It's all there. And it's willing to come back generally. Usually the voice is ready to play. The psyche is a little nervous. It's like, wait, I end right here. This is my story. I like my story. It keeps me safe. But he was gentle and kind. And when I would do something that I thought was a mistake, my voice would crack or, do something horrible. He'd say, "Oh, lovely," or "interesting" with his British accent. And I'd be like, "Oh, it is." Yeah. So he kind of just reframed what voice is, that it's not pretty. It's not about being pretty and perfect. It's this raw, vibrant, alive force that has its own intelligence and is just dying to be expressed.
Yeah. That reminds me of something I just seen the other day ago. It was like you already know what you need to do, but you just aren't doing it or something like that. Like you already know most people know what they need to do, but they just for some reason, fear, whatever, is holding them back from doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Lao Tzu poem that I put to music.
I love Lao Tzu.
Yeah, and I did it. It's a New Orleans style. I'll send you the link for that too. I made it a New Orleans style piano thing, but one of the lines is, at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are. You know what you want. No need to go outside for better seeing. Rather abide at the center of you. The more you leave it, the less you learn. Search your heart. You will see. The way to do is to be. Yeah.
That's good.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think I always tell people, I think out of like all the old philosophical and like esoteric texts, Taoism, I think for me it's resonated the most. They all resonate, but I don't know, something about like when he says, what does he say? He says, what is it? The sage teaches without teaching, or like you do without doing, something like that. I'm butchering all the quotes, but it's basically you can act, you teach without actually teaching, you act and you do without actually doing. Yeah. If you had the chance to go back and whisper one thing to your younger self, what would you say?
You're doing great, honey. I've been using this metaphor of the crop circle, like those shapes that when you get up high, you can see this pattern in the corn or whatever it is. And I feel like in my 60s now, I'm high enough above to see the pattern that was
Uh,
unfolding in my life. And most of the time, I was just lost in the weeds, just like flailing and thinking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I make up my mind and just do one thing? And there's a coherence. There was a coherence there all along, and I just didn't believe it. But some part of me believed it. So I guess I would just whisper, just you're doing great. It's all going to make sense. Just keep going.
yeah. Yeah, I think some people get caught up in that, like, is it too late? Or it's like, I'm too old now. It's like, I have to start over. But then it's also like the other way around too sometimes, where it's like maybe somebody goes to school or does all the things early, but then 20 years later, they end up like hating it or not wanting to do something different. And for me, it was more like that, not knowing what to do and trying a bunch of different things,
Yeah.
and some stuff stuck. So
Yeah. And I feel like I think if I could have fit in, I probably would have.
oh, you
I
would
think
have.
I think just the way I'm wired though, I feel like there is this thing inside me there that has always been there. There's something, I call it the soul. I don't care what the name of it is, but there's just
Hmm.
been this something that uh allowed didn't allow me to go like into. I think part of it is just being an artist, that I would always
Hmm.
have a divided life, that I would have this part of my life that's artistic and mysterious and creative, and then I would have a day job of some kind. It's all one life now, but I feel like I looked at that probably in my late 20s and just early 30s and just said, I just am going to always have a divided life. And that's okay.
Hmm.
That's all right.
Hmm.
Because there was a woman who came into my organizational development office. I was working as the business manager, and she came in to meet with my colleague, and she looked a lot like me, about my age. And I just looked at her and I was like, "Well, Cal, I'm probably as smart as Colleen. Why is she like the executive director of a housing nonprofit, and I'm sitting here, doing spreadsheets?" And I was like, "Oh, because I'm an artist." And I'm
Hmm.
always going to need to keep some of my energy for that. And so I can't go all in a career like some people.
Uh,
And it was
that's so
like,
true.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. That means, okay, I can set that down.
No, I get that 100%. That's exactly how I felt when I was in the military.
Mm.
And people were like, why don't you, like, you could do extra stuff so you can rank up and climb the military ladder. And I was just like, mm,
Nah,
I don't feel it. It's not,
nah.
it's
Well,
not.
I don't know you well, but I can see it. How that would not necessarily be your jam.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But that is the exact feeling I get. Like, I felt like I wouldn't have the reserves in
For
me
sure.
to pursue things that I was interested in. For me, it was more about like learning who I am and like what do I like and what can what can I do that I enjoy doing that maybe I could make a living off of. I don't know. Something like that.
Something like that.
um, if you had all the time and money you ever needed, what would you be doing?
Exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not driven by money much. Um,
Mm,
and yeah, I love my life, and it's such a gift. My gosh, how many people never get to do what they love, live where they want to? Um,
mm,
and yeah, I I mean, I might build a sleeping porch off my house so I can sleep outside when it's nice. Or, um, but yeah, I feel like I'm living in an embarrassment of riches right now.
Hmm. That's a good place to be.
Amazing place to be. Yeah.
What's something you'd like to see change in the world today?
Mm. Well, it's funny. I might have said in the past more people singing together, but God, I guess with the singing resistance like explosion that's happened, that's like, okay, check. More people are singing together. Um, and I still think it's a really healing and humanizing
Hmm.
way for us to gather without having to like check credentials and it can work across generations and all of
Hmm.
that. So I think singing,
Hmm.
I would say that, more singing just for the pleasure of singing. And I would also really like us to uh, reconnect with indigenous ways of being in relationship with the natural world, to be more respectful, more in partnership, less extractive and crazy, like taking big dumps in our own nest. So I would really appreciate, yeah, I think we could. I mean, you can do all kinds of laws and regulations, but it does feel like fundamentally we could change our relationship with life to be more of a partnership and less domination.
Uh, I was gonna say we do still have that tribal aspect though. Like, people can really be tribal about their certain beliefs and politics, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's like,
that's not
yeah,
what I mean.
yeah, yeah. I
That
know
kind
what
of
you
tribal.
mean, but
Yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, we still have that tribal part.
We still
Maybe
have
not
that.
not like the actual village communal like living
Yeah,
aspects,
yeah.
but like you know how they always say like it takes a village to raise a
Mm-hmm.
child, and it's like that was so true and still is pretty true.
Very much so.
Um, yeah, Barbara, is there anything that you would like to share with whoever's listening that you think would resonate with them?
I wish that I could show you, whenever you are lonely or walking in the dark, the astonishing light of your being.
Thank you, Barbara. Is there anywhere people can go check you out?
Yep, BarbaraMcAfee.com. I'll send a bunch of things to put in the show notes, the links to the TED Talks we talked about, and the books and the music. So that's the easy. My website is the portal where you can get a lot of those things. But if you're just interested in one or the other, I can send more directly. So, and
Thank
I'd
you,
love to
Barbara.
hear if you got questions or stories. Hit me up. I'd love to hear from people.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.